What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're starting another weekly preparation marathon with Dr. Dolittle. Well, it'll at least be a partial preparation marathon. I'm not going to be watching the original 60s film or any of the TV movies starring Dr. Dolittle's daughter or anything. I'm really only focused on the films that interest me, which are the two films starring Eddie Murphy and, of course, the newer film starring Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. So if you're as ready for this escapade as I am, let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, escapade, an act or incident involving excitement, daring, or adventure. The doctor is in Dr. Dolittle when John Dolittle is a physician that suddenly realizes he has the incredible ability to hear the voices of animals who can talk just like you or I. When the animals learn he has this ability, they all gather around to tell him about their medical problems in hopes that his occupation will help heal them of their woes. This crazy behavior, of course, is affecting his ability to lead at his real job, which is close to a business merger. I'm sure that years and years ago I saw this movie, but truthfully I couldn't really remember anything about the actual story other than the gimmick of Dr. Dolittle talking to animals. And that really is what this movie is at the end of the day, right? A movie about a gimmick. Because the real story, I couldn't really care less about, and I doubt you would either. I think a lot of families will watch this movie for years and years, love it, and not actually know what's actually happening plot-wise. The only denominator in the plot, gluing everything together and leading the direction in which the film goes, is this business merger, and that's it. And like I said, who cares about a business merger? It's not even the character development from Dr. Dolittle. Usually you might have somebody discover they have this ability to talk to animals, go into deep denial, spend a majority of the film trying to figure out how to block out those voices until they finally give in, realize the voices aren't so bad that it's actually their true calling. And you see this transformation occur in this character. Not so much with this movie. His character legitimately goes back and forth 4 or 5 times between liking his ability to talk to animals and hating it. So even though this film has a lot more focus on the talking to animals bit than this business merger, the talking to animals bit isn't actually going anywhere while the merger is. That's why I call the film a gimmick film. But at the same time, it is a comedy. With comedies, you're going to focus a lot more on the humor than the story. So let's do that for a second. Eddie Murphy is a funny guy, regardless on if he's making more grown-up films with crude humor or family comedies. I've enjoyed him in both, and I would say that he does a pretty good job in Dr. Dolittle, and you know what? He's not the only one. I probably laughed equally as hard watching Eddie Murphy as I did with the animals. The animals were just, they're hilarious in this movie. They really were, because a ton of them were just cameos of actors and famous characters that maybe you'll pick up on, maybe you won't, but if you do, it's that much funnier. One of the dogs in the kennel talks like Sling Blade. Now, I'm not sure if it was actually Billy Bob Thornton doing the voice or not, but I picked up on the character. And because I did, I couldn't help but laugh. There's a lot of stuff like that, a lot of top-notch humor from the animals, and I personally really love practically everything that the Chris Rock guinea pig does and the Norm Macdonald dog, what they say. This is a solid comedy. That being said, some of the CGI that the film uses to make the animals talk, it doesn't always work. I feel like it's a mixture of practical effects, like when they have a dog chewing on something and they just use that movement of the mouth as talking, and then they use computer effects, which they bring in to shape the mouth into words. It doesn't always work, and I feel like we have a much better grasp in today's day and age of doing the same thing. I mean, just look at the Lion King remake. In 1998, I think the animation is a lot more choppy and noticeable, so that slightly affected my end score, but I wouldn't say by much. It's only a slight complaint at the end of the day. Time to look at my end score. When I break down my score, my unbiased opinion is that it deserves a score of 68%. However, the comedy particularly impressed me, and I had a great time with it, so my bias score was actually 84%. When I combine the two, my end result is 76%, which is the score that I'm giving it overall. Guys, I would like to hear your thoughts on this first Dolittle film by Eddie Murphy. How do you think he fits into the role? Is he funny in it? Is the comedy a little bit aged? Let me know. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some others. Like it, hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel, and don't forget about the little bell icon because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!